my name is Julie. Welcome back to Orange Therapy on YouTube. Ed has the day off today. Today we're going to be exploring motivation. How do we get motivation? Where does it come from? And how do I keep myself going? If you struggle with motivation, then you have happened upon the right video. Sit back and let's learn about this together. So what is motivation? Psychology Today says that motivation is the desire to act in service of a goal. It's the crucial element in setting and attaining objectives. Motivation drives us to continue striving towards meaning, purpose, and a life worth living. But where does it come from? It could be intrinsic or extrinsic. And intrinsic means that it comes from within. It's values driven. Let's say I have motivation to lose weight. So the intrinsic piece of that is I want to be healthy and mobile, so I'm not a burden to my children as I age. An extrinsic motivator might be inspired by rewards. I want to get a race medal at one of my friends' next races. So we can have intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. If I'm looking to achieve in the workplace, intrinsic might be that I just want to do a good job because it feels good. I like the feeling of accomplishment. And extrinsic might be people will see what a great job I'm doing. But whether it's internal or external or some combination of the two, and usually it is, rewards, motivation, it doesn't just happen. There must be a desire to act. And it requires us to act to create change. So let me explain that. Motivation itself doesn't just happen. It does require us to act, and it requires us to have motivation to be able to do it. We have to act to create change. It sounds like I'm saying things out of two sides of my mouth, doesn't it? But stick with me for a second. Dopamine is the reward chemical for motivation, and we get it after we do something. So if I'm going to be motivated, I have to keep the dopamine flowing. So I'm going to give you some ideas to help you with starting, maintaining, and ultimately keeping motivation, because it is something that we can build in our lives. So are you ready? All right. The path to the starting line is the hardest. So there are several tools that we can use to get us started. The first thing is to act as if. Act as if you are motivated. What would I do right now if I were heading out to exercise? What would I do right now if I wanted to accomplish that job at my workplace? So if I was going to go out to exercise, I would go and get dressed in my workout clothes. Then I would say, where would I go and walk or run if I was motivated to do it? And so then I act as if I was motivated. The second thing is to practice self-compassion. People think that they need to whip themselves into getting moving, but the research demonstrates differently. We don't need to be mean to ourselves to motivate ourselves. We don't need to be mean to others to get them going. Self-compassion is what is necessary. So it's not about leaning into and not doing the hard work, but it's acknowledging that it is difficult. Practicing self-compassion means to acknowledge the flaws and mistakes and failures with honesty. So I haven't done a good job of pushing myself to get out to exercise. I'm going to do better at that rather than beating myself up for not doing those things. I haven't done a great job getting my work submitted in time, but I'm going to explore some tools and I'm going to use those tools and I'm going to do what's necessary. It can be hard to do the things that we need to do, but just an aside, if we do hard things and we tell ourselves I'm doing hard things and I'm succeeding at those hard things, we actually get a bigger hit of dopamine when we acknowledge that we are doing something that is difficult. So our body rewards us for doing the thing that we need to do. So don't sit in a pity party. That's not what self-compassion is about either. Assess where you are honestly, currently, right now, and then decide what's necessary to get yourself to the next spot, but do it with self-compassion, do it kindly. Use the 10-minute rule would be the next thing that I would suggest, or maybe shorten it to 5 minutes. Let yourself know you're going to go and get working on or doing the thing that you know that you need to work on or do, and you're going to do it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. What you'll find is that when you get there and you get working on the thing or you get doing the thing, you begin to get the chemicals that you need to be able to keep going. And before long, you've completed an entire daily workout, or you've done a large chunk of your project, and you feel better for doing it. So use that 10-minute rule. Maybe pair the workout or the activity with something that you do enjoy. If it's possible to listen to music or meet a friend or do it in nature, it can be motivating to add that other piece that I don't like this so much, but I like doing these things and I can put them together, so it makes that thing more enjoyable. For some things that doesn't work, and again, not all of these processes are going to work for everything that we do, but if we have a bigger toolkit to use, then we are better able to motivate ourselves going forward. Break the goal into smaller pieces would be the next idea. And it's something that we can do when we've got a big project on the horizon, or we're working toward a large goal. Maybe you're working toward running a marathon. And so if I break it down into smaller pieces, and each piece I then am rewarding myself for through my own body, I get more dopamine through encouragement, I hit that goal, then I get going again, right? I've got these little goals, I'm getting more dopamine, more motivation to keep going. So keeping that goal in mind and celebrating the process and the progress is important. If you have some form of documentation, it's great. If you are trying to lose weight, documenting your journey through pictures and putting that together in a photo time lapse of your weight loss journey can be really motivating to keep you going. And it can give you, again, that dopamine to keep you motivating, to get more dopamine to keep you going, and so on. Make the pathway to your goal as easy as possible. And of course, understanding reaching these goals, it requires work. But if you're going to exercise in the morning, then don't give yourself the excuse that, oh, I've got to dig out my clothes. Lay them out the night before. If you have to work on a big project, and you know that it's due on a certain date, but you can't work when your house is dirty, ask for help. If you have other people that can help you to clean up the house, do it quickly and then go sit down when you have your energy levels high so that you can sit down and work on that. Shut off your phone so you're not distracted if distraction is a problem for you. And will the path be smooth when you do those things? Heck no, it's not going to. So plan for possible problems as well, things that might sideline you. If it's exercising, going for a run, what will I do if it's raining? If it's a project that I have to do, what will I do if somebody comes and knocks on my door and wants me to go and do something that I've always said yes to, right? How will I say no to that? And practice those things. So plan for those problems. And the answer to those problems isn't just to skip the thing that you have the goal for, right? We need to plan in advance for hurdles that you may encounter so that they don't sideline you. A great example of this is Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps won the 200-meter butterfly in the 2008 Olympics by 0.7 of a second. He set a world record while swimming blind for the last 100 meters. His goggles filled up with water. But he had practiced with his trainer. He knew what he was going to do if that happened. He practiced with his goggles off. He practiced so that he knew how many strokes it was going to take. He practiced so he knew what it would feel like, so that didn't sideline him from the task that he had at hand. Now, we may not be swimmers, but if you're watching this, you probably have a goal that you need motivation for. And if we don't plan for the things that may happen to sideline us, we don't have a solid plan for what might cause us problems and what might happen when they do happen, because things happen to sideline us. We end up falling off the wagon and we miss our goals. So plan for these things. Many people also have stopped progressing toward goals when something happens to cause them to miss, particularly if it's exercise or walking, running, jogging, or for a diet, and they fall off the wagon. So they fail because they stop when they don't do it perfectly. Things happen. Get back up and keep going. Remember, why am I doing this? What was it that caused me to do this in the first place? What were my extrinsic or my intrinsic motivators? Remember the why. Was it health? Was it achievement? Was it working toward attaining an upward mobility in a company? If you've always wanted to run a marathon or just earn a medal at a smaller race, whatever the reason, begin again. Start doing. Use the tools that I discussed until the tool becomes a habit, until the behavior becomes a habit, and you'll be well on your way to getting the life that you really want. I hope something in this helped you today to work with your own motivation. If you have other tools that you use, please drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, I hope that you join me here at Orange Therapy on YouTube next week, where you are welcome, exactly where you are.